I managed to open my eyes just enough to see my clock. It's an hour before my alarm is set to go off, and some asshole is knocking on my door. A whole hour of precious sacred sleep gone, taken before its time. I would kill too. If I had the energy, I'd go rip whoever it was a new one. But I don't. I just roll out of bed and waddle warily towards the door.
Yeah, just a second.
I throw on a t-shirt on my way there, and when I arrive at the doorway, I slam my fist on the control panel with contempt. I should have expected the beaming smile that greets me, but that doesn't stop me from grimacing at the sight.
Morning, Stan! Gosh, it sure took you a while to get up.
Took a while. Dave, we don't have assembly for like 1,000 years. Why are you even here?
Actually, Stan, that's the thing. You don't have assembly today. Here, this was at your door.
Dave hands me a small note. I rub the sleep from my eyes as I read aloud.
Henchman number 065. In light of our administrative changes and our integration of the Henchman program, you are scheduled to receive an in-depth review of your recent performance today. Arrive in room 243B no later than 8:30 a.m. Failure to comply will have dire consequences. Yikes. It seems a little over the top.
It's over the top for Lord Bedlam anyway, but it certainly fits Kate's description of Madame Scorpion, yeah?
Wait, if this was just posted here this morning, how did you know to come wake me up?
Oh, I didn't. Mine's not until tomorrow. But I figured there was a slight chance you might have an early review, so I just wanted to make sure you were ready anyway. Better safe than sorry, right?
That doesn't sound promising, Dave. Do you know something? Yeah. What's up here, Dave?
Well, if mine had been tomorrow too, I'd probably be filled with a righteous, sleep-deprived fury right now, but since it's this morning, thanks for being so fortuitously helpful.
Sure thing. I am pretty fortuitous, huh? I should write that down. That'd be great to bring up in my own review tomorrow. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, glad I could help. Look, I'll see you later, okay? I need to clear my head before my review.
Oh, right. Of course. Gotta put your best foot forward and all that. I'll leave you to it.
As Dave leaves, I close the door and sigh in relief. That boy's just not all there. Handling him takes more energy than I've got this early in the day. I look longingly at my bed. I probably have time to squeeze in a little more sleep, but since I'm already up, it's not worth the risk. May as well just go ahead and hit the showers. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. After showering, changing, and spending several long minutes trying to stave off a general sense of impending doom, I make my way to room 243B. While I've never been to that room specifically, the meeting's in, I'm familiar enough with the area. It's the Laird's administrative section, so unless you work for HR, you generally don't want to be there too often. As I round the final corner, I spot my destination just down the hallway with its door wide open.
Okay, Stan, you got this. No sass, no back talk, just get it over with.
Oh, sarcasm is hard to keep in, Stan. I feel you. Well, this is fancier than I expected. Not that the bar's all that high. I mean, our break room couches hail from curbsides across America. So clearly this isn't Lord Bedlam's doing. No, that's pretty high tech. I guess that giant scorpion on the wall makes that pretty obvious, not to mention the room's sole occupant.
Henchman number 065. You're 3 minutes early. How unusually punctual of you.
Excuse me?
Unusual? No, I'm Mr. Punctual. That's me. I just love being on time.
Not according to our records. Or your late departure from the scene of Wednesday's operation.
Oh, right. That thing. Thanks for the save, by the way. I wasn't looking forward to another beating from Miss Dynamo. I have a feeling she was gonna break something this time.
Think nothing of it. That child is like a barking dog. Loud, but stupid. Dealing with her was no trouble at all. So if you'd like to thank me, be on time from now on. Will you?
Will do?
Sure thing. Wait, by from now on, do you mean at other meetings with you? Because I sort of thought this was going to be a one-time thing. I mean, why would you want to meet with me? I'm just...
Have a seat, Stanley.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
There are 2 chairs in front of Madame Scorpion's desk. I quickly take a seat in one of them. For her part, Scorpion stays standing, preferring to slowly stalk about the room. That's not a good sign. I really wish he'd stop. It's hard not to fidget with her looking at me like that.
Don't fret. This isn't about your punctuality. In fact, you're quite average in that regard. The henchmen here tend to be late in general.
Oh.
But you know that, don't you, Stanley? After all, you've been here for years, haven't you?
Yeah?
Yeah, that's right. I'm what you might call a seasoned veteran. An experienced, loyal henchman or henchmanee. Henchmanist?
So you are. And how many promotions have you earned in your long and illustrious career?
Technically, about, 0-ish?
Not ish, just 0. You have had 0 promotions.
Well, I mean, I've received some pretty good compliments every now and then. That's kind of the same thing, right?
No. No, it is not.
Oh, you do not like a sense of humor, do you? Oh, this is going a lot better. This would be going a lot better if she asked questions she didn't already know the answer to. I can't prevent the fidgeting at this point, and Scorpion seems to notice. She stops pacing and leans back against the desk in front of me.
Oh, Stanley, don't be so nervous. You're not in trouble. That's why we're having this meeting in my office.
And where would we be having it if I were in trouble?
I think you'd be dead, Stan.
Somewhere where I could be more persuasive.
Yeah, you'd be dead, Stan.
Oh, well, that sounds less fun. I think.
Certainly for you, Stanley. But then again, I have a feeling that you have quite the pain threshold.
What makes you say that?
Deductive reasoning. You've been a henchman in the Bedlam organization for over 5 years with no promotions, no arrests, and minimal injury leave. Barring promotion, the average henchman career is 8 months. Why do you think you've lasted so much longer?
Lord Bedlam's leadership? Dashing good looks. Well, I don't know what Stan looks like. He sounds pretty average. Smarter than not hard. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. Ooh. Kiss up to the boss, or... You know what? Yeah, I work smarter, not harder.
Well, life's not a sprint. It's a marathon. And that means you've got to pace yourself.
I have no use for vague metaphors, Stanley. Be specific.
Damn. There goes my best bullshitting tactic.
Okay, what I mean is, the thing about being a henchman is, we're not really supposed to beat the superheroes, right?
Well, if you have the ability.
It happens every now and then.
Yeah, but not often. And when it does, usually we've got some crazy advantage. You can kind of see it coming. A lot of guys don't get that, though. They're always trying to win. Me, I know my role. I know what I'm up against. So maybe sometimes when I'm lying on the ground, seeing stars, and I know that getting back up isn't going to do any good, I just stay down.
Well, it's a smart thing to do, but you probably shouldn't have said that to her.
Some might call that laziness. Even weakness.
Yeah.
By some, do you mean you?
That depends on your reasoning.
I would go with yes.
I'd call it knowing my limits. I do what I can, and that's all I can do.
I squirm in my seat and avert my eyes. Shit. Was that really the best I could come up with?
Interesting. That's more astute than you realize.
It is?
Only a fool fights a battle they cannot win. Yet that's what people are told to do. As if grinding yourself to dust trying to do the impossible is some noble and sacred pursuit. Some call it fighting spirit, others might call it grit. Whatever the name, though, it's a fantasy. Turning a defeat into a total loss for honor's sake is the height of folly.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. Just less eloquently.
Geez, she really slips into the all hope is dead thing quick. I bet her monologues are off the charts. Do assassins monologue? I mean, normal assassins wouldn't, but supervillains sort of have to. What did she do? Sneak up to someone, put a knife to the throat, and tell them how dreams are there for losers? Seems awkward, but maybe that's why she became a business executive instead. Hell, it probably made for good practice.
Whether you were going for it or stumbled into it face first doesn't matter. You've grasped the concept.
Awesome!
I guess. Stumbling just doesn't sound as cool.
That's true. Keeping up appearances is important too. But that's an advanced concept. One that I have already mastered, as you can see.
Not that she's wrong, but sometimes I wonder, does a supervillain get a huge ego after becoming a supervillain? Or do people with huge egos just become supervillains more frequently than others? It's a good question. As I ponder that chicken or egg paradox, Scorpion stands and once again begins stalking about the room. An apex predator, Kate really has Scorpion pegged.
Here's the point, Stanley, and do keep this in mind. The Scorpion Group has been observing this organization for months now. We know everything about it, including you.
Promising.
And with that knowledge, you are the first henchman I chose to speak to. Not your supervisor or Bedlam's other acolytes. You.
That's worrying.
And you kept me from getting flattened at that data center. Thanks again, by the way.
Yes, I did. As I said, I was protecting my investment, which includes you, Stanley. However small your contribution. You see, Henchman is still in a closed beta, and that goes both ways. Not only are we selective with the organizations that can utilize the program, but the henchmen who can join it. To succeed on Henchman, contractors need a certain mindset, a set of patterns and behaviors that will let them thrive and solidify the program's ecosystem. Based on the data, you may have that mindset, Stanley. But I can't know for sure without reviewing your performance in person. So let's return to that subject, shall we? In fact, let's speak of a specific performance. 2 days ago, you were part of an operation. Your squad was left in the rear guard. Do you recall what happened?
A very painful celebrity meet and greet.
Yes. Shining Nova is quite the famous superhero. And you two met face to face.
Lucky me, right? That makes you the second famous person I met this week.
Oh? I'm famous. That's news to me.
Oh, she won't like that. Ah, shit. Secretive assassin, right. Me and my big mouth, but hey, maybe I can spin this into a positive.
Tell me, what makes you think so?
Oh, don't say that. Just look at you. You just told me so. That feels like I'll be bullshitting her. Yeah.
You just look like it. You're sure you're not a movie star or something? Because you could have fooled me.
Huh. Shameless flattery. There are worse tactics, but you do realize that I'm your superior, don't you?
What? No, don't take it the wrong way. You just look stylish, like you could be at a red carpet premiere.
In a catsuit?
Yeah, well, it's a nice catsuit. Very fashion forward. You could start a whole trend with it. Catsuits are the new mom jeans. I can see it now.
Oh, God.
Yes, I'm sure that's what you meant. Though, I do suppose I must look like a beacon of fashion amidst the sea of purple, so I'll forgive such boldness for now. You can't help what you say out of sheer awe.
Yeah.
But back to the matter at hand. You were the final member of the rear guard to engage Shining Nova during that operation, and you did so alone, after your colleagues had all rushed in at once or fled.
When you put it like that, I sound pretty stupid.
Little bit, Stan, but we're fine with that.
You certainly didn't have the odds in your favor. In fact, we did an exact calculation of your chances of success in that scenario. They were 600,000 to 1.
And now I sound really stupid.
But you still had one chance.
If your goal was to succeed. But you weren't trying to succeed, were you, Stanley? Not in the traditional sense. Why don't we review your moment-to-moment decisions during this encounter?
Sure. Scorpion strides over to her desk and presses a few keys on a fancy-looking keyboard that's resting on it. In response, the equally fancy holographic display sitting next to it comes to life. The display morphs into a miniature recreation of the research lab we raided on Wednesday. It's really exact. Too exact to be a recreation. This had to be footage from somewhere. Once it's in place, Scorpion gestures to the footage.
So, Stanley, here you are. You were faced with an A-list superhero all by yourself. What did you do?
I look at the display. She's definitely watched it before. It's not like I'm going to tell her anything she doesn't already know. Oh, this has to be on purpose.
Well, I figured that if I didn't move, I was going to get blasted in the face, and everyone attacking at once had just failed pretty horribly. So I just kind of dove for cover.
Which is the smart play, to be quite honest.
That's sound reasoning. If unconventional for someone of your lowly rank.
Unconventional to dodge? Like, I disagree. That's smart for anybody with any common sense.
Unconventional how? Seems like common sense.
Thank you, Stan. You are the man.
Statistically, of course. Typical henchman reactions to a threat are to flail wildly in some pale imitation of attack or to flee in terror.
Well, that just sounds like they're idiots.
Every now and then you may see a few try to avoid a specific attack, but it's rare for such an attempt to succeed. Based on the data, your actions and their outcome were somewhat remarkable.
I guess that makes sense when you think about it. Most of the heroes you meet have superhuman abilities, and most henchmen don't. So even avoiding a single blow is difficult.
So, does this mean I have some kind of enhanced reflexes or something?
Oh, goodness no, Stanley. Just look at you.
Well, thanks. Madame Scorpion advances the footage, and I see myself diving desperately for cover. I look a bit like a fish jumping out of the water. There's no real coordination. I just kind of flop around.
Yeah, I guess I see your point.
I should hope so. You land with all the grace of a bag of yams.
I think the expression is a sack of potatoes.
Does it matter? Are potatoes more graceful than yams?
No, I guess they basically have the same amount of grace, as in none whatsoever.
And yet, despite your starch-like reflexes, you managed to avoid Shining Nova's blast. Because, fortunately for you, you think faster than either a yam or a potato.
Hooray! I am not a potato. Thanks. I almost remark about what a low bar that is when I suddenly remember the Potato Pope, a supervillain whose henchmen were literally sentient potatoes. Oh man, that's just glorious.
Sadly, quick thinking is sometimes no match for raw power.
To illustrate the point, Madame Scorpion lets the footage play once more, showing Shining Nova blowing my makeshift cover to smithereens and slowly advancing on my position.
Trust me, you're talking to the man who knows. Like, intimately.
I should hope so. You ran headfirst into that fact, right? Here.
I grimace as I watch the hologram reenact both my futile attempt at offense and the swift, highly painful retribution that followed.
Ah, there's your potato impression again. Goodness, look at you fly.
Yeah, Shining Nova would probably qualify for the Olympics in the henchman toss.
And yet you still weren't unconscious. I'll say this for you, Stanley. You know how to take a punch.
Because I like taking... I mean, I don't like taking them. I just know how to take them. Yeah. We're sticking with that, Stan.
It's a finely honed skill.
Don't let it slip, Stan.
I'll bet. And a statistical rarity.
Really?
Really. By simply keeping yourself from passing out, you managed to delay Shining Nova for that much longer. And as it turns out, Lord Bedlam needed every second to complete his mission. That's part of your value, Stanley. Based on your DNA samples, you don't have any predisposition towards superhuman abilities. Yet you seem to be able to endure more punishment than your colleagues.
I just think that might be blind luck.
I guess I do. But hey, Just out of curiosity, where exactly did you get those DNA samples?
That's a secret.
I guess I really don't want to know. I'd never given it much thought, but I suppose she's right. I do tend to be one of the last guys standing on a consistent basis. Too bad it's not a superpower. Then again, it would be a pretty lame power. What would they call me? Punching Bag Man? The human meat shield?
But let's get back to Wednesday's operation. If you look at the footage right here, you'll notice something interesting about where you landed. What might that be?
Even though I know what she's talking about, I look at the footage
I'm
anyway.
pretty close to a door, and the engineers that we took captive aren't far either.
Correct. Though you didn't realize that second bit so quickly at the time. In fact, you don't notice until this moment right here.
She advances the footage until hologram me turns his head in the direction of the hostages.
And then what precisely did you do with this newly acquired knowledge?
Make a horrible, offensive crime of trying to take somebody hostage with lethal force, which I didn't have, thankfully.
I threatened them. Sort of. I didn't exactly have a weapon or anything, so I just pretended my communicator was a bomb.
An excellent idea. But there was one problem with that plan. Your opponent.
Yeah, I guess someone with super sci-fi vision isn't going to confuse a walkie-talkie for a grenade.
No, they aren't. That said, I also don't imagine you would have any idea of knowing that at the time. Given your situation, you made the best possible move. You made use of your environment and the weak-willed, faint-hearted tendencies of most superheroes. With a different opponent, you may have forced a standoff. Yet, even as it stands, you still caused a minor delay. See how Shining Nova abruptly halts? There's hesitation there. Weakness. More importantly, you showed the kind of attitude needed to succeed in the Henchman program, Stanley. You saw the exposed throat of your enemy, and you pressed your blade against it.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say that exactly. It's not like I was using a real bomb. The hostages were never in actual danger.
But they didn't know that, did they? For a moment, their fear was real. Your power over them was real. Couldn't you feel it, Stanley? Didn't it taste delicious?
Okay, yeah, you're into that whole dominating thing. Yeah, we already got that gist.
Maybe? I can't really say that I've tasted too many emotions. I mean, maybe pain, but I think that's more like blood getting into my mouth and stuff.
If you could taste emotions, though, what would they taste like? Would happiness be sweet or savory? Would anger be all hot and spicy? Would sadness be soggy bread?
You'll grow accustomed to it, I have no doubt. It's rather addicting, and as you're starting to discover, effective. Now then, I think we've seen enough of this, haven't we?
She finally turns off the hologram, thank freaking God. This is the first time I've watched myself get humiliated by a superhero, and I have to say, I could live without the experience.
So, Stanley, after reviewing the footage, would you say this is a normal operation for you?
Oh yeah, getting my ass handed to me? Yep.
No, definitely more exciting.
Although, yes.
And after our review, would you say that you performed better or worse than your peers in this scenario?
Actually, better.
Well, better, but
But I don't know how they initiated this attack response.
And how were you compensated for this operation compared to normal? How about compared to your peers?
I didn't get jailed.
I'll answer for you. The same on both counts. But that's how it works, isn't it? You're paid a salary, and that doesn't change when things are harder or your performance is better. No, you can't earn more without a review, like this one, and they don't come often. But dear Stanley, what if I told you that you can?
you mean I, can?
Exactly. I admit, I wasn't entirely sold on the name until we focus tested it with a few slogans. But it really works, doesn't it?
I guess so. Where are you going with this?
I'm getting to that, Stanley. But first, why don't we turn this discussion inward? What drives you, Stanley?
Nothing. I am a sack of a sack of potatoes.
What do you mean?
I mean that as a henchman for Lord Bedlam, who or what do you serve before all else?
Uh, well, this is... Oof. Stan's kind of in it for himself. It honestly does seem like it. Bedlam is just a boss. His peers... I don't know. It's probably... Yeah, himself. Madame Scorpion's already proven that she's not particularly susceptible to bullshit, so I guess I may as well just be
To
honest.
tell the truth, I'm looking out for myself. Not that I won't do my job or anything, but at the end of the day, I've got to take care of things for me. That's just how it is.
I don't get an immediate response. Instead, Scorpion takes a moment to study me as if looking me over for the first time. Her stare is unnerving.
Correct. Well said, Stanley.
Hey, I did the smart choice.
I wasn't aware this was a question you could get right or wrong.
Of course it is. It's simply a matter of being honest with yourself. No matter what you had said, your actions would already have spoken for you. During your everyday tasks, you trend right inside the average by every available metric. You do not perform better or worse than any of your fellow henchmen. You are perfectly commonplace. But when you are personally at risk during operations, you are suddenly head and shoulders above the pack, despite having no powers or exceptional athletic background. In other words, Stanley, you are performing at the optimal level for your own self-interests. You have found exactly how to do your job and collect your paycheck with as little pain and effort as possible.
Yeah, I can't really deny it, but that's just how you treat a job, isn't it? You clock in, you do what you have to do, and you clock out.
I suppose many do. But this is something that extends well beyond one's occupation. Why should you try to perform any better when you have no incentive to do so? Should you throw yourself at superheroes based on the distant dream of a promotion? Of course not. No. You have learned that the optimal path forward within this system is to intentionally perform below your potential. So that's what you do. And make no mistake, you have potential, Stanley.
So I'm not a sack of potatoes. Madame Scorpion pauses to examine me once more again. This time she leans closer. I try and fail not to flinch.
All you need to bring it out is a system that rewards you appropriately. And this, Stanley, is what I have been getting at. Henchman is that system. With Henchman, you would be rewarded based on the work you do. If you accept more gigs or more difficult ones, then you earn more. If you perform better on a gig, you earn more. It's simple. Take Wednesday's operation, for example. You would have been paid better than your peers for that, and certainly better than your supervisor.
She's uncomfortably close now. I can't lean further back without tipping my chair over, and for whatever reason, I can't bring myself to break eye contact. You ever looked over the edge of a cliff and just had this weird urge to jump even though you know it would kill you? Looking into Madame Scorpion's eyes is like looking down that cliff.
How would that make you feel?
Good, I guess. But, I work for Lord Bedlam.
And? He employs you, but should he own you? Your days could be his, and your nights.
She leans closer and places her hand on my shoulder. I feel myself go rigid. This sounds more suggestive than it probably should.
Could be mine.
You mean henchcans, right? Your program?
Why, of course, Stanley. That's what we've been talking about this whole time.
Good.
You're exactly the kind of candidate we need. You'd be just perfect for it.
Yay? Before my brain can reboot and offer a response, Scorpion removes her hand and turns back to her desk. Only now that she's let go do I realize how sore my shoulder feels.
And as it happens, I know of a gig tonight that would be an excellent trial run. You should sign up.
But it's game night. The boys need. Oh. Oof. You know what? No. It's game night, and I'm the game master, and you don't turn your back on your players.
Sorry. Tonight's not really a great time for me. I've got plans. Well, everyone does. Friday's game night around here.
Game night? You mean to tell me this whole organization shuts down to throw dice like a bunch of doddering grandmothers at a mahjong club?
You got it right.
No, not exactly. No one plays Mahjong. Oh, wait, Squad 12 does. Never mind. Most of us don't play Mahjong.
Well, you have certainly filled me with confidence. What purpose does it serve?
Oh, she does not like that.
For fun, it helps us all unwind. Lord Bedlam said something about team building too. I can't remember how it went. Besides, it happens after hours.
Stanley, one of the things you'll need to learn is that there are no after hours. There are simply hours, and you should strive to fill all of them productively. That is the only way to succeed in the modern world.
But you see, Stanley's looking out for himself, and exceeding beyond that, this is detrimental to Stan.
Right. Fill hours productively. Got it. I'll get right on that. After tonight.
After all, I don't want to let my party down by canceling SNS at the last minute. Besides, I already invited Kate. Probably wouldn't be a great first impression for her if I did that. Exactly. Don't let me party down. And Dave invited himself too. God, if I canceled, I'd never hear the end of it. Every day I'd have to hear about the SNS session I canceled. It'd probably cost me a raise too. You know, if I ever get around to qualifying for one. Of course, that look Madame Scorpion is giving me is a lot more dangerous than anything Dave can muster. Maybe I should take some time to reconsider.
Well, at least download the app and take a look. Perhaps then you might come to your senses. You'll find a QR code on the bulletin boards in the break rooms or at the entrance of the cafeteria. Tonight's gig should be immediately available to you. Take a few hours to collect some more information and think it over. But not too long. You'd hate to disappoint me.
I get that impression.
I'm sure I would.
Oh, no, that wasn't a question. You'd really hate it from the bottom of your heart. I'd make certain of it. Then, dear Stanley, you'd see where I have my other meetings.
Stanley, you don't like getting abused. Don't do it.
You mean the ones where people are in trouble?
Precisely. That is all, number 065. You are dismissed.
Let's leave quickly.
Right. Got it. Thanks.
By the time I stood for my seat, Madame Scorpion is behind her desk. Her attention turned to something else entirely. So I silently head for the door and step outside as quickly as I can without seeming like I'm in a panic. Or that's the goal. Not sure it worked. It's not until I've rounded the first corner that I finally let myself sigh in relief. Thank God that's over. I feel like I just went through an emotional spin cycle. Still, I didn't do so bad considering I was being interviewed by possibly a psychotic tyrant / tech mogul. Is that what dealing with a bona fide, genuine articled supervillain is like? Do you spend every second wondering if you're going to be eviscerated? Okay, not every second. Scorpion's a total smoke show and probably has, if you've got it, flaunt it engraved on a plaque somewhere. Can you blame me for taking my mind off my own murder for a moment? Then again, I'm pretty sure female scorpions kill their mates, so maybe that was also my murder. God damn, nature ruins everything. I take my time heading to my post for the day, and it's only when I get halfway there that I realize the craziest thing about that woman. Despite my fears of being dismembered, weirdly enough, it seemed like we were speaking candidly towards the end there. I feel like that should mean something, I'm just not sure what. Okay, that was a good, long, intense interview there. I think I'm going to cut it here and continue on to what I'm going to assume is the game night and see how well that goes and if that takes place or not, because Madame Scorpion might interfere with it. But yeah, anyway, if you liked the video and want to see more, by all means, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you while we continue on with Game Night.